those are taken, they randomize which category you get out of the few that are left over. And for their Hundo PBs, I guess I can look that up. And it looks like RaceBot has counted down. And both of these runners are going now.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm back. But yeah, the category starts at serious like most categories, so that 001 file was a trap.
So Eduardo's PB is a 135 or 125.37 in Hundo, and Leno as well. I can't find on here. He might be going under a different name.
Wow, 125 is a very, very good Hundo time. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how much experience.
Looks like Eduardo forgot to fix his controls, so he ended up resetting right at the beginning, unfortunately.
Oh my.
So it looks like there's a bit of lenient or difference here.
Yeah.
So already it looks like Leno has about a 40-second head start over Eduardo, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
anyway,
sorry, go ahead.
The category has actually officially been announced now as 100%. Earlier wasn't official, but now it is.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
with a 125 in 100%, I think that Eduardo's probably going to be okay with spotting about 40 seconds. But I mean, anything can go interestingly with 100% because it's so easy to forget an item.
Yeah, there's a ton of items that people miss or can miss in 100%.
So
someone in the community even compiled a list of some of the most forgotten items.
Yeah, what item when you're doing 100% are you most likely to miss, BPS?
I actually haven't really thought of that one. I mean, one I commonly miss is wreck ship left side.
I've had that happen once, and we saw some wreck ship left side missiles forgotten in, I think it was the Sloter's Richmond race.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. In Sloter's, we don't know Leno's PB. Actually, let me see if they're on his splits.
For me, I know the ones that give me the most grief are probably, at least most recently, Cathedral missiles on the way over to Bubble Mountain, and right side attic missiles.
So I looked at Leno's stream. His PB is a 128, or mid 128.
Yeah, so both runners with good Hundo PBs. This should be a good race to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Really nice gap skip pitless on the way down there from Eduardo.
Yeah, that was really clean.
And so with PBs in the sub 130 range, I don't know which route these runners are going to go with. I imagine their splits might give some insight if we could see all of them, but it'd be really interesting to see if we see some early ice or early grapple here.
I'm really hoping that there's going to be some route divergence. I'm seeing one of them go to ice and then one go to grapple early.
I'm also curious if we're going to see anyone go for a moon dance route at all in this tournament, which is a newer thing. But there's really I'd say 4 viable 100% routes right now for runners.
Honestly, I don't think Moondance is optimized enough where it would save time. So, for those that don't know what Moondance is, it's a pretty new tech that was discovered. It uses a moon fault. I don't remember the exact number. I want to say 100 and you store 170 something moonfalls. I want to say 176.
That's correct.
Nice. You store that many moonfalls, and it allows you to clip through a tile, allowing you to get to the Edukun PBs before you're actually supposed to be able to get them. So it lets you just clip down a whole level and get items earlier than you're supposed to.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It looks kind of silly and takes a little while. And so there aren't too many runners who go through it. It's actually kind of tedious. The times I've tried to do it, it has caused me physical discomfort in my hand, and so I've just not wanted to push forward with it. It's a very awkward set of inputs.
Honestly, I think the only reason people should go for Moondance is if you're actually trying to go for real records, like world records or something. But that's a completely different topic.
And Leno is working on Alcatraz here. This is such a finicky trick, and then once you miss it once, the rhythm is just like you get in your head about it, and he's made it through, but I identify with that struggle.
Every one of us identifies with that struggle every once in a while. And Eduardo, with first try, has a pretty clean parlor as well. Looks like Leno's doing the new route strat, where you just farm up those guys for one missile drop and then head down, so you take very little damage going down into Norfair.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that strat with anything less than full health, though, especially because you have so much health to give in the early part 100%.
And that strat is pretty dangerous without full health anyway, because these guys now have a chance to drop health and get health bombed, but luckily that we didn't see that happen to Leno. He actually got 3 missile drops, which is pretty good luck, considering he doesn't have full health.
Yeah, and those guys have good odds to drop missiles, but there is health in that table, and so we saw the drops work out in Leno's favor, which is, of course, good. You never want to see someone get stuck like that on drops early.
Absolutely. It's very unfortunate when that type of thing happens to runners, and there's really nothing they could do about it.
And this is the sort of the first divergence in Hundo that we see from most other categories, where runners will have to, after grabbing early supers, come back and get the reserve tank and the 2 missile packs here.
Also a little high five between the runners.
The need to go back and collect those items, and ooh, Leno gets
Leno,
a nice
that was a
reverse mock ball.
Reverse mock ball. That trick looks so nice to do.
Yeah, it looks
like Eduardo's going for it as well. So close. It was a good attempt, though. Also, not forgetting the bridge missiles. Those are... I hate to say it, but I miss those missiles myself way more than I'd like to admit.
Yeah, I can't say I've missed those ones before, but I can see how it happens. The biggest danger for me in terms of missing missiles, or any item, is in rooms that I would see in other categories and perform in different ways, but under similar circumstances. So things where I can autopilot to another category, and there's no real major cue to indicate to me that I should be doing something differently.
So from here on out, the category is pretty similar to any percent, with the exception of picking a space or well, any percent old route. Now we can see one of the runners go up Red Tower to get power bombs early, so they get the Kraid missiles much earlier than other routes do.
And in the last 100% race, we saw Richmond go for that and then get thwarted by his controller, but we'll see if either runner elects to do that today.
Alright, doesn't look like Leno is.
Yeah, which will mean on his way back down to Lower Norfair, or Upper Norfair, I suppose, on his way to Lower Norfair, he'll probably stop and grab Kraid missiles then, either on his way in or his way out.
Yeah, it looks like Eduardo's also not going for that either. It's pretty reasonable because it's more risky and it doesn't really save much time.
Do you know how much time that actually saves? I haven't timed it out.
I'm not actually sure if it saves any time. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it does. It just makes it so you don't have to do it later. But anyway, the first power bombs you're going to be seeing are at Crocomire.
Crocomire or Alpha PBs, depending on which route the runners run.
Oh yeah, that is very true. Because I have a feeling that one of these runners is probably gonna do late grapple or early ice.
I've got my fingers crossed for early ice. I don't think we've seen an early ice route yet in any of the races for this tournament for 100%. And I look forward to it happening. But yeah, for anyone joining us late, Eduardo had to restart the race because he had not set up his controller scheme properly. And so he restarted about 40 seconds later, and so he's just a little bit of a handicap here in terms of time for this run.
Also, Eduardo unfortunately co-jacked his super, so he might need to set up his quick kill a bit differently. Looks like he's going for the missile kill anyway, so doesn't really matter.
Yeah, very nice 2-missile quick kill there from Eduardo.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice kill. And this race is still neck and neck. It's anyone's race right now, so this is really nice. Even with that slight handicap.
Yeah, I expect we're going to see a pretty close race. Even if the runners take the same route, it should be fairly exciting. Oh, and I think Eduardo might have this mock ball here. Oh, no.
So close.
It was really close.
That is a really nice mock ball to get.
I have quite literally never gotten it.
Me neither.
And so the route is that both runners, we're going to see them go grab their high jump boots. Leno's shooting open the ice door, but that doesn't really tell us much of anything. But we're going to see him get high jump, clean out this area, head over to Bubble Mountain, get wave, and then we'll find out what the runners are doing as they head sort of above Crocomire.
Shooting the ice door is kind of risky because now we need to farm something else in order to get the speed booster. So hopefully we see another drop for him.
Yeah, I mean, there's King Cac there that you can farm, so you usually have one super to give on this part of the route.
Well, for King Cac, you'd still need to farm up in order to get into the speed booster room. Or you could use normal missiles to get in there, but normal missiles aren't as fun as super missiles.
He needs one super to get through the end of Cathedral, and then one for speed. And now he needs another one. So yeah, now he'll need the King Cac super or another drop.
Leno, not forgetting Cathedral. That's always a very good thing, because Cathedral is not something you want to be going back to. And Eduardo not forgetting as well, so...
Yeah, with these runners' PBs in this category, I think that they both have probably sufficient reps at it to probably not forget anything, but then again, there's always, if I haven't run Hundo in a while, it's always just rolling the dice whether I'm going to skip something.
Yeah, you'd have to constantly be telling yourself, or have a spreadsheet or something.
I recently added Cathedral missiles and a couple other drops throughout the run on my splits, just for that problem.
Eduardo not farming the Cac attack. It looks like he actually got a super drop somewhere else. I'm not sure where, but he got one, so he doesn't really need the Cac anyway.
I've heard some folks mention speed missiles as something they potentially forget, but both runners getting them. And a little bit of a high five there from the runners. For as long as they're on the same route, I think we're going to see a decent number of high fives.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I like that Alcune deboost strat that Lenophis just used for the entry to Double Chamber.
Oh yeah. So, Eduardo only farming one super, so it's going to need to be a bit careful with the super count. Luckily, the only green door coming up would be near Croc or Ice Beam. So actually, if he decides to go down to Croc, he'd be fine because there's 2 Cac attacks nearby, but if he goes to Ice Beam, he'd have to refarm something, so he has to be wary of that. Actually, there's the Cac attack outside, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, both runners are probably going to get... Yeah, Leno just farmed the Cac here in Bubble Mountain. And I imagine we'll see Eduardo do the same.
Alright, so Leno doing an early Croc.
Yeah, we have our first route determined. That is the room where the routes diverge for 100%, barring Moondance.
Alright, let's see what Eduardo does. It looks like he's also going to Croc.
Boo.
I was really hoping to see some route divergence, but looks like that's not happening today.
Yeah. In honesty, this route is probably the more race-friendly route. Yeah, what a Croc.
Yeah, what a Croc. Honestly, the only reason I prefer late Croc is because you just get to kill Croc with Plasma Beam, and that's super fun. So yeah, everyone get your Croc season chat. Because you've got double Croc on screen.
Yeah, this is, I guess, the one advantage to both runners doing the early grapple route is that all of the Croc is being done now. We'll have no more Croc. And we saw both runners firing a wave spazer shot, charge shot, up from against the wall prior to grabbing that E-tank. That's to get the wraparound shot to open this door on the left. We'll see if they get the spark through over to the Croc PBs. And
Looks
Leno's
like
got
Leno
it. And I see the comment of missing like half the run already from N Frago in chat. But oh no, this is 100%. We've got about another hour left, so we're only about 25% through this one.
So coming up is a strat that I hope you see, Indiana Jones, where you jump out of the grapple beam room and grab onto some of the rippers. It doesn't look like Leno's going to be going for it, though. So hopefully we'll see Eduardo go for it. But this gives Leno a chance to do the best mock ball in the game, so hopefully you see that. Oh, that was a really nice speed ball into grapple beam.
Yeah, that's the best speedball in the game. I guess that isn't setting up Blue Bomber.
Yeah. Alright, let's see if he gets Indiana Jones. It looks like he might have it. Wow, that was really nice. Got an Indiana Jones from Eduardo and the best mock ball in the game from Leno, all at the same time. That was beautiful.
Yeah. Both runners doing a nice job of showcasing, you know, I guess what sort of cool alternate strats are available in this category. And both runners employing a very similar strat for this missile pack here as well.
Indiana Jones is actually the fastest strat there, and it looks really cool. So it actually allowed Eduardo, to gain some time on Leno. Because now they're almost about 2 seconds behind each other. Or not 2 seconds, but really close.
Yeah, they're maybe 10 seconds apart, and after Eduardo started 40 seconds behind, literally, he's been clawing his way back in, despite the fact that both runners are playing quite well. Yeah, the way Leno got the missiles, for anyone who missed it, was to start running and then sort of do a spin jump up those missiles and get them before grapple. Whereas Eduardo chose to go for the Indiana Jones strat, which involves grappling off of 2 of the rippers once you have grapple beam.
So it looks like these 2 runners are super close together now, less than 2 seconds apart.
And both setting up for Alpha Spark. We'll see if they both get it. And Leno's got it, and so does Eduardo. That is excellent.
It looks like Leno is going for the Slotus refill, so that gives Eduardo a chance to cut ahead of him.
Yeah, shout out to Sloters, whom I saw in chat. Leno showcasing the Sloters refill.
Looks like Eduardo is doing a different strat, just laying a power bomb to kill all of the rippers, so he doesn't have to worry about Red Tower. Something you can only do in Hundo, basically. Or any category you get Croc PBs before you get Alpha PBs.
Yeah, the Sloater's refill's mostly a pre-Fantoon safety, because you're going to spend some health deboosting through Hellway, you're going to deboost here in Alpha PBs. You might be using a Spark for Beta PBs, depending on what strat you're using in that room, plus then you're Shine Sparking into Wrecked Ship, and so you do spend a decent amount of health pre-Fantoon. We might see the runners take this Red Tower save. I'm a fan of that in just in general, taking a safety.
Both runners remembering it's Hundo, so they don't have to open up the yellow door.
And both runners saving health and not going for the spark into the spikes here in Beta PBs. So Eduardo has gotten his spark over for Wrecked Ship entry, and I think we'll see. Oh, Leno was going for Ocean Fly there with the charge shot. Guess the missiles on his way out.
That was a really interesting Ocean Fly setup as well. I've never seen it using a charge spacer wave shot before. Firebat, I imagine that it was to delay falling, so it allowed you to kill the side hoppers. Because in order to kill them, they have to be on screen. That's what I imagine it was.
Both runners remembering the left side Wrecked Ship missiles, so far both runners are on pace to have all 100 items when they finish their route. No one's forgotten anything yet.
Eduardo looks like he's going for X Factors.
Yeah, we'll see what Leno chooses to do for Fantoon.
That was a really nice first X Factor from Eduardo. A fast! Wow, that was a really good Fantoon fight from Eduardo.
Wow, a nice fast Fantoon with the X Factors for Eduardo.
That was a really good Fantoon fight. Looks like Leno was using the pause-on-pause setup for X Factors.
So that's something I'm not familiar with. Do you know how that pause-unpause setup works, BPS?
Yeah, so basically when you charge up your X Factor, or charge up your Wave Spacer combo, you're not actually going to do anything, but once you pause and unpause pause at a specific time, you're actually going to see it here. It'll well, if you do it, charge your wave thing early enough. It takes 120 frames for the X Factor to actually charge, so after those 120 frames are up, it's not going to do anything if you don't have only wave or spacer equipped, so when you unequip spacer, it will instantly cause an X Factor to happen. If I can get my words across. Yeah,
Leno showing us that Fantoon sometimes can just be a jerk, but getting through the fight cleanly. As Eduardo makes it through the spike room on his way up to the wreck ship energy tank room. And this room right here is, for me, one of the reasons to run an early grapple route in 100%. That room's so much easier when you have grapple versus when you don't.
Yeah, that is very true, because when you don't have grapple in that room, you either have to unequip high jump to make it easier, or just bite the bullet and do it without unequipping anything. And at that point, it's really difficult.
Yeah, without unequipping, I don't know if, I think you can do it with the high jump. It might be a very, very narrow window, but most people just use the bomb jump setup for that. We'll see what attic strat Eduardo decides to go for here. And looks like he's just going for a sort of run through and kill everything, and remembering to shoot open the door and go get his right side missiles. So one more potential forgotten item averted. And Eduardo getting his robot skip there. That'll work for a robot walking toward you.
Honestly, those robots are super annoying.
Oh yeah, they're some of my least favorite things that you have to deal with in the game, but it happens. He got his skip pretty cleanly there, and was able to missile the robot back into the pit and not have to deal with it on the way out, so worked out a-okay.
Alright, let's see what Eduardo does for the missiles up top. It looks like he's going to do a Shine Spark up.
Yeah, there's really 3 different ways, at least that I know of, to do that one. You have the straight vertical spark, the diagonal spark, and then the sort of run and jump up and get them. That can be a little trickier, but all viable.
The run and jump is really useful if you have low health, which you'd only have low health if you really mess up the spiky room of death, and it looks like neither of the runners did, so health isn't an issue.
But yeah, Eduardo has built a little bit of a lead here, but mostly on the back of Fantoon.
Yeah, that fast pattern was really useful for him.
Yeah, and he handled it great. I mean, you can get the pattern, and then you still have to execute, so it's not pure RNG.
It looked like Leno accidentally bonked. Wait, did he go to the other side?
Not yet. Now. Thankfully, he turned around and is going to go do it.
And these are missiles that you really don't want to miss here. Unfortunately, he has to kill everything in attic again.
Yeah, the last hundo race I did on SRL, I forgot these and had to spend 3 minutes going back and getting them on my way to Torian. It felt very, very bad. Getting his robot skip.
Obligatory put me through.
And Eduardo has gotten his water break. Gotten through bowling now. Leno getting a little trolled by this first robot. That was a nice setup there from Leno, getting iframes from the Atomic to then try and run through the Key Hunter to build up speed for going through the rest of Attic.
Looks like Leno is going for the straight vertical spark.
Yeah,
Fortunately missed it, but...
It was a little too far to the right, a little too far to the left the first time, right the second time, and then the third time it worked out, so... He's on his way. And because of going for that ocean fly, he still has to get moat missiles on his way back, but they'll be on his screen, so he'll see them.
So Eduardo is skipping the refill. And that refill is pretty convenient because it'll fill up all your missiles and supers, but he has... I imagine he's comfortable enough that he doesn't need them.
Yeah, for me it also provides a nice check that my ammo counts are right to that point in the run.
So time for this wraparound shot.
Yeah. He was what I think was...
Looks like he got it.
I've seen that setup.
Yeah, that was a different setup. I usually you see the turnaround setup, but he got it. And especially with Wave Beam, it's even more difficult, so kudos to him.
And Leno's last long break until G4 is... Or I guess until Shock Tool is gone. Now he's through bowling.
Alright, so this is a pretty simple area, but if Eduardo messes this up, it's no fun. Looks like he got it set up though. Alright, so if you only land on one side of the crumble blocks there, you have to go all the way back through Gauntlet in order to hit the other side if you miss, if you don't hit both crumble blocks.
Yeah, that is things that I think we're going to see most players in this tournament who are running 100% take some time and use one of the safer setups. Because it just costs so much time if you miss it and need to go the whole way back around. And Lenophis finishing up the wrecked ship has to still go get what are technically criteria items here in the lake missiles and moat missiles, but should be pretty much set up for the early part of the game to be done by the time he gets back over the ship.
So the area Eduardo is in right now is where you would do the moon dance to get to early.
I like how we're probably 15 minutes from seeing Shock Tool, almost. And chat is still so excited that we're going to get to see Shock Tool today.
Yeah, there's a pretty big argument, maybe even bigger than Animals, about whether or not to kill Shock Tool.
How do you feel about Shock Tool?
I think you should never kill him. Never kill Shock Tool.
I'm kind of on that same side of the fence. I usually don't kill Shock Tool because the only times I've killed Shock Tool have been the times where I've accidentally killed him while he was digging out things in the sand, and it felt so bad. So I know how badly things go when you do kill Shock Tool.
Anyway, Eduardo is doing some Brinstar cleanup. Looks like he's gonna just go straight over to these missiles here and powerbomb that door later.
Yeah, it's going to cost 1 extra power bomb and maybe a second, but it's not too bad. See if he gets Mission Impossible here. Not even going for it.
But when you spend a ton of time setting up for Mission Impossible, it does basically lose all the time it would save.
Yeah, it's one of those tricks that looks really cool, but yeah, it doesn't save that much time. And that, like that gauntlet wraparound shot, everyone kind of has their own setup for the Spore Spawn super shot. But Eduardo getting that on the first try. Lenophis headed up to the Edicune power bombs. So in the Moondance route, you would get these and then use them to escape from the Edicunes, and you'd have power bombs to do a lot of the Brinstar cleanup on your first pass.
So it looks like Leno closed the gap, but the reason he did that is because he's going to do late Gauntlet. Because you're actually able to do Gauntlet a bit later than Brinstar cleanup.
Yeah, late Gauntlet's an interesting call. A tournament routing choice to enable a ship check before heading to Torian, and I kind of like that idea.
You know, I've never actually thought of it that way.
Yeah, to give you a chance to save in case something is wrong. I think that's kind of a cool idea by Leno, if that's what he's going for. I know the old Hundo route back in sort of the mid to late 2000s, when I first started running, had late Gauntlet, and it was always nice to have that option to check at the ship.
Yeah, that's one of the route divergences we were talking about earlier.
And Eduardo getting a little jagated there, laying that power bomb early and having to lay another one on his way out from Waterway. But thankfully, ammo at this point in the run is not really a problem. Runners have picked up so many things beyond what they would have in an any % run.
Looks like Eduardo's going for these missiles early.
I don't know. I don't consider this early. When would you get them, BPS?
Well, there's 2 times to get them. You can either get them now or on the way back. And when you do on the way back, you might even go for a reverse Slinky. I don't know. You might be seeing one of those. But getting them now, you don't have to think about them.
Yeah, I've always grabbed them on the way down there. I think that it's cleaner movement through the room, both sort of the first time through and the third time through the direction you're traveling, and the second time through, because you're power bombing out the door to Blue Brinstar. It just flows a little more naturally, but I haven't spent too much time thinking about it. And Leno, unfortunately, does it count as a goop if you diagonal spark into a ceiling you didn't mean to diagonal spark into?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't think so.
And Eduardo getting Main Street missiles. That's another one of those items that I've added a split for because I feel like they're easy to forget.
Honestly, the ones I forget are the entire Meridia Beach area. I thought about it, and I sometimes just skip that entire area.
Yeah, Beach is another one that especially runners who've done any percent before 100%. I've heard them lament having to go pick them up or forgetting about them. I remember when Trumoss was learning 100%, that he had a split specifically. It was like, okay, just go up at beach and not down, and would really, be effortful in reminding himself. And I think that that's not uncommon.
Looks like Leno's going to be going for the short charge.
Yeah, I didn't catch whether Eduardo did or whether he went for sort of the two tap from the ledge up here that it looks like Leno's setting up for, but he got it quickly.
For the two tap. Sorry.
I think on the bottom it's either a fairly tight 4-tap or a reasonably tight stutter 3, but you can do a clean 2-tap from that ledge and get it, which is how I ended up doing it.
A stutter 3 or just a normal 3-tap.
You can get the bottom from a normal 3-tap?
I don't know if you can get it with a normal 3-tap, but it's definitely possible with a stutter 3.
Yeah, I've always had to either do a 4 or a stutter 3. And so, to answer a question about the route from Shakal Draconis that I see in chat, you do the Blue Brinstar and Crateria cleanup sort of on your way back to Torian at the very end, and that's when you head up to get the 230 missiles, which is why that's what everyone calls them.
Yeah, going back to your point earlier, you never really need a 4-tap, or I don't think there's never a time I've ever needed to use a 4-tap, unless you want to go for the ship Shine Spark or short charge, but you'll never need to use that in a run.
Yeah. Is that a stutter 4, the ship, I think?
I think it's a stutter 4.
Yeah, Main Street, I just wanted to see if you could get it without a stutter, and I was never able to get a clean 3, but it warrants testing.
Leno not forgetting Meridia Beach.
Yeah, and Eduardo looking like setting up for an X Factor on Batwoon here. Not quite, but getting a couple particles in.
Luckily, though, this is Hundo, so he's got a ton of super, so he can still get a clean 2 rounds.
Yeah, with Leno doing late gauntlet, I guess the 230 missiles are going to be the 220 missiles. And then Gauntlet will have the 225 and 230.
Alright, Eduardo going for a halfie.
And having a nice Coliseum strat there with the spike deboost onto the other spikes. That always looks nice when it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leno now a little behind, but still fairly close. Again, still has to do Gauntlet, but that's about a minute roughly, minute and a half.
Alright, let's see if Eduardo goes for his normal Dragon. Looks like he is.
Yeah, the particles didn't quite connect, but still a nice spark there to start the fight.
Oh yeah, definitely. Honestly, the spark is more important, if you ask me. Looks like he is going to go for the grapple as well. Just gets a shine spark to make it a bit faster.
Yeah, a really nice quick kill on the grapple though, getting the grapple pretty much right after getting grabbed, and a halfie for Leno too. Both runners getting that. And Leno choosing to farm a couple of the Metroids, and we're going to get a little bit of a high five here. Oh no, Leno's also going for the precious rune supers, or missiles, sorry, on his way down and narrowly averting a high five.
Rest in peace, high five. You will be remembered. Anyway, we're going to see if Eduardo decides to get the E-Tank now or later. Because they're actually able to get this next E-Tank at either time. I imagine we're going to see this E-Tank a bit later. Because his health doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, I've seen runners get it either time. I usually go for it on the first pass just in case I accidentally quick drop the sand pit, even though I've never actually done that.
And it looks like he's actually going for it now.
But yeah, because of the way you need to route the Meridia sand pits in, you actually come through that area twice when you need to get all the items for 100%, so there are a couple opportunities. Same with aqueduct missiles and supers, which it looks like he's going to go for after Spring Ball, which may mean that we're going to see the potential soft lock strat.
Wait, I like that. Potential soft lock strat. So you're able to do a blue bomber, but if you break the blocks under yourself and just don't jump back out, the speed blocks that will respawn above you, so you just get completely stuck and there's no way to escape. So you get trapped between two speed blocks, basically, in the soft block.
Yeah, it is a pretty... It's not a very high-risk thing to do, but it does have that associated with it, and I think that keeps a lot of people from going for it. It's also tricky as all get out, so we'll see if Eduardo decides to go for that.
Looks like Leno's just gonna go for the pump Dragon full of super or missiles strat. And now we're finally getting to see everyone's best friend Shack Tool.
Yeah, so chat, you can throw your Shack tools in chat. Now is the time.
Real question though, is Eduardo going to be a champ or is he just going to kill Shack Tool like a monster?
We've got probably about 40 more seconds of Shock Tool to find out. So far, all we're seeing is frustrated arm pumps, so looks like Shock Tool's gonna live, at least for the moment.
Alright, best item in the game, validating his run.
Yeah, this item enables so many strats.
I have a real important question because you usually see runners kill Shack Tool on the way around if they decide to do it. Doesn't look like he's going to do it, so his run is valid.
And Shock Tool lives, at least for Eduardo, so we'll see what Leno chooses to do here in about a minute and a half, probably.
Looks like Leno's going to be going for the aqueduct stuff now.
Missing the first short charge, but it's easy to just drop down and do what he did there as a backup, so getting his items now. We'll see Eduardo pick those up probably on this loop around. And so Eduardo's headed over to the plasma room. We'll see how he chooses to handle this one. Looks like no power bomb. And Leno going through the pants room, the only room in the game where part of the room is separated from the other part of the room by a door transition. It's very peculiar.
Also, a fun thing about pants room is there's actually 2 different copies of it, if you look in the game's code.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
Or, well, if one part of the code is one half of the pants room and the other, or like the full pants room, and another room in the code is just the right side of the pants room.
Yeah, I see Antinomy or Sephi in the chat pointing out that this is Shock Tool's twin brother, whom I can only assume is called Shock 2. See if Shock 2 lives or not.
It looks like Throughbat is correcting us. There's also the Itakun room. That's a door to itself. Like the gray door going out.
Oh yeah, because it does the little backdoor passage. I never even thought about Edakun's room that way. That's interesting. So my apologies, I was wrong.
Looks like Shack Tool is living another day for Leno as well. So both of these runners have valid runs.
It's a good choice by both runners there. The family of sand-digging robots remains alive and well. Until the planet explodes, but, you know, is what it is.
That's beside the point.
Yeah, now Leno just tracing Eduardo's path through, and Eduardo getting the nice little gap skip there, enabled by having Spring Ball between the reserve tank and the missiles. Something that I always like to look for. Saves maybe half a second, but looks nice. And Leno choosing to go for a power bomb strat to try and kill the wall-bound space pirates in this room, so we'll only have to shoot out 4 of them.
Oh, even if it doesn't kill them, I'm not sure if it's intent. If it doesn't kill them, it will make them weaker, so you only have to shoot them once, so you don't have to wait for the iframes to run out.
Yeah, I think you need a double hit on each of them, which is actually a fairly narrow point in the room where you can place that power bomb.
I actually haven't done much testing with that strat, so I'm not really sure.
And Eduardo has remembered the Kraid missiles and is going to get those now. There are a few locations that are just inconvenient and require backtracking in 100%. This would be the reason that runners would choose to go up and get the Alpha PBs on their way down their first trip through Red Tower. Yeah, Eduardo got a 2-round fast with X Factors that was very, very well executed, and Leno had, it was a slow mid something. Leno's Fantoon didn't go quite as well. And that actually is a large part of the time difference in this run. Both runners have played very well. Eduardo started 40 seconds behind and is generally had slightly better movement, but I mean, with a 3-minute better PB, that's kind of expected. But still, both runners having just really, really nice runs.
I think you're right, it's fan-tuned that really made the biggest difference. Like, general movement is a big factor, but fan-tuned patterns.
Fan-tune and... Sorry, go ahead.
A really good fan-tuned fight really put him ahead.
Yeah, that and the needing to redo Attic for Leno was a bit of a time sink.
Eduardo, unfortunately, missing the speed keep right outside the Nutella refill area.
You can do a speed keep there? I mean, I suppose you can. What's the speed keep get you?
Basically, you're able to, if you do the space jump, your space jump timing well, you're able to get through there as fast with full running speed.
Okay, I see what you mean. I never thought of that as a speed keep, but I mean,
I'm not really sure what it'd be called actually. In a way, it's kind of a speed keep, but I'm not sure what the actual name for it is.
Leno also remembering to go get the Kraid missiles, so both runners, assuming that Leno's choice about Gauntlet was made deliberately, which I'm sure it was, on pace to get all 100% of the items. We'll have to watch through Lower Norfair here. There's a couple items that can be a little tricky. You'll see runners sometimes forget, but I'm sure both runners will remember all the items.
Eduardo going to GT now. Now, one thing he has to be very careful of are these missiles coming up. I mean, I doubt he'll miss them, but if you miss them, you have to backtrack all the way around, so...
Yeah, and that involves going through that Diskiga room, which is both slow and inconvenient.
I mean, it's pretty easy to get them. You're even able to just morph and do some spring ball stuff and not have any risk of falling down, but he just did some space jumps and got across really easily.
Yeah, that's one where now I use spring ball because I want to lay a power bomb to knock out these blocks to get this super missile anyway. So just for me, the risk of falling with space jump, I only ever had to have that happen once. You lose about, I think, 1:45 if you fall through those blocks.
Looks like Eduardo got them a nice pixel for GT.
Yep. Looks like he's going for the spark after picking up screw attack, so see if he's got enough timer on his shine spark.
I imagine he will.
And Leno going for the quicker entry here, and looks like he's got it through the Nutella refill.
So far, I don't think any of these runners have missed any items.
No, absolutely not. They both have all of the items, the exception being possibly Leno having to go back for the right side attic missiles and wrecked ship, but he got that right away. So both the runners now have all of the things they're supposed to at this point.
Eduardo not forgetting Mickey Mouse. This is one of those missiles that is really easy to forget.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get the spring ball back out. It's fairly tight, but it looks pretty cool when you get it. He had it, but he didn't actually go for it. Still got out despite unmorphing. We'll see what Leno does here about the GT missiles, see if he uses Spring Ball to do it safely, or if he goes for the Space Jump as well. And looks like Space Jump for both. Thankfully, neither runner experiencing a problem.
Yeah, that's something you don't want to have happen to anyone. You wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Yeah, if there's one item to screw up in the game in that way, that might be the worst of them. Like, that's worse than the gauntlet, for sure. At least in my mind. I don't remember. It might actually be roughly the same time-wise, but... Or no, I was thinking of that wrong. I was thinking about falling on the Mickey Mouse missiles with the Tuskegee room. Sorry about that.
Falling at Mickey Mouse isn't actually that bad.
Yeah, but that Tuskegee room sucks. It still feels bad.
Oh, yeah. Feels bad, but Gauntlet is definitely worse than that, time-wise.
And Leno with a Goop Spark there, forced to do medium speed pillars, unfortunately. But Screw Attack makes it so that if you screw that room up, it's actually not nearly as bad as it would be in any percent. That's kind of a theme through all of Lower Norfair, is all of the nice stuff that you've got by the time you get here makes it much, much easier than it would be in a lot of other categories. Nice Ridley from Eduardo, and Leno remembering to get the Mickey Mouse missiles.
So yeah, that's a nice thing about Hundo, just be able to plow through these areas and not have to worry about anything. So yeah, I need to say that was a really nice Ridley kill. I kind of glazed over that one, or commentary-wise.
Yeah, it was a pretty fast kill, and so it was, I mean, in addition to that, just very well executed by Eduardo.
Looks like he's taking time to farm a few supers. Or not, I guess.
Yeah, interesting. I hadn't really thought to farm those on the way back out in 100% previously.
I guess it makes sense since there's no other areas for you to farm, really. And those guys have a pretty decent super drop chance.
That was a great Wasteland short charge from Eduardo there. And Leno going for it, but missing the double Kago. Got the first one, though. Getting a nice entry here. We'll see. Look, oh, bonked. No Flower House today.
Looks like Leno's gonna be using some supers on Ridley.
We'll see if Eduardo here goes for one of my favorite strats. It looks like he's skipping it, at least on the entry here to this room, but it looks like he's just taking it safe.
And that's completely understandable, because that strat, if you mess it up, is kind of just wasted time. You're able to do a speed ball there into that little prison area, and it's really fast and saves a lot of time, and it looks really nice.
Yeah, Leno also having a pretty solid Ridley fight there. going to get the Ridley E-Tank as Eduardo is making his second lap through. And so at this point, Eduardo's built up a pretty substantial lead, definitely not just from the Fantoon, so we'll see if he can hold on to that through the rest of the run, but probably almost 4 minutes ahead at this point, factoring in Gauntlet, but Leno getting the reverse Plower House. That was really nicely done.
Looks like Leno is going for the speedball, but it messed up a short charge. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, thankfully it's not too hard to just roll up in a ball of shame and just bomb out the blocks. The backup is not much worse than what you would have done had you just not gone for the strat in the first place. So in that sense, it's a pretty low-cost thing to go for.
And now the two runners are just able to clean up the rest of Norfair.
Yeah, all four bosses are down at this point, and so just a matter of doing item collection here for the next handful of minutes until Torian.
So Eduardo should only have one item left in Norfair now, the Missile Pack in Bubble Mountain, and he's coming up on him now. So this should be his last Norfair item. Or for Eduardo.
Yeah, I think he's got all of them at this point. In an early ice route, we would see a trip now down to visit Crocomire with Charged Plasma. But because the runners already did that section of the game earlier, they're just going to run right across here, go through Frog Speedway, and make their way back up to go get X-Ray. So we're going to see basically the exact same thing here from Leno as we just saw from Eduardo.
Neither runner forgetting the Franker Z missiles.
Yeah, that's another one that folks have said that they find very easy to forget.
Alright, so Eduardo coming up on the second best item in the game, X-Ray Scope.
We'll disagree on that one, but it's okay. X-Ray for me in 100% is a menuing inconvenience and a way for me to fix it if I screw up stand-up, but that's pretty much it. And Leno choosing to get the items here in the Norfair Reserve Room in the opposite order from Eduardo. Eduardo got the Missile Pack first, and then the Reserve Tank, which is what I used to do. And I was questioned about it enough that I spent some time testing it, and I think it's about 1 second faster to do what Leno just did.
That's actually interesting. I haven't really tested that myself.
Yeah,
so because
I was consistently a half second to second faster getting them in the order that Leno did.
So because Eduardo already got the missiles here, he doesn't have to worry about them on the way back.
Yeah, pipe missiles, I think, flow better on the way down. But thankfully, if you forget them, you do have the option to get them on the way back out.
Accidental X-ray from Eduardo. I see what you're talking about with the accidental X-raying, but it's still the second best item. I see to go out of bounds pretty easily.
I agree in categories that allow it. I just think that in categories where out of bounds is not permitted, it's really just a hindrance for the most part. GT being an exception, because then you just get to abuse it plus plasma for all the bosses, but you don't even really have that for anything in this category, unfortunately. I think I back up Sephi's assertion that accidental X-rays should be called X-raves, because they make the screen flash and explaining jokes and whatnot.
Also, yeah, Billy Mays, great room.
Yeah, the only room in the game that's like that.
Oh, there's a one right outside of the Brinstar Reserve, but I guess you could call that an alternative Billy Mays.
And so there's a question, or an assertion from Insane Firebat in chat about you could also X-ray and plasma kill things like metal pirates, and basically anything with more than 900 health that plasma will pierce. So you could use it also on the key hunters in Lower Norfair. Like you could X-ray plasma the Three Musketeers, for instance, if you were in that situation. It's just that the way the route works out, we don't get X-ray early enough to make use of those things.
Either way, it really wouldn't be worth using on the Three Musketeers, since they're always vulnerable, really. So, yeah.
And a nice Criteria Super's Shaft Spark there from Eduardo. Really nice setup. Getting all of the whatever the little jumping booger guys are called.
And also a nice Shine Spark from Leno.
Yeah, both runners playing very well, so I'll take this time to remind everyone, if you aren't following these runners, feel free to give them a follow if you're enjoying what you're seeing here today. They're both putting on very nice runs and are very skilled Super Metroid players.
Yeah, definitely follow the runners.
Eduardo making his way now down to Torian, so on pace for pretty good time here. I mean, especially if we subtract 40 seconds from the timer, knowing that he started up or had to restart in Sirius Station. I actually didn't catch it. Did you catch Eduardo getting the old Mother Brain missiles? I'm sure he did. I just didn't see it.
Yeah, I caught him doing that.
See, I think he's got everything, but of course we'll have to wait until the end of the credits.
Yeah, I think he's gotten every item. Leno just has to remember to get the old mother brick, or not, sorry, gauntlet missiles and stuff.
Yeah, he still has to make the trek through Gauntlet, so he'll be looking to see, I guess, 240, 50, 45. If he stops at the ship.
And stopping at the ship might not be a bad idea, since he's right there and he'll tell you if you're missing anything.
Yeah, it's a nice safety to be able to take, but if he's watching this and sees where he is relative to Eduardo, I mean, I think that actually frees him up to go for the ship save, because really figuring one of the most likely scenarios where he's able to make this comeback would be if something bad were to happen. We see Leno remembering to head back over to go for Gauntlet.
Eduardo with some pretty bad super drops right now. He's only got 8 supers. I mean, ammo isn't really a problem, but
yeah,
still.
That Metroid, Metroid strat, or the Metroid drops rather, were not being the most kind.
Yeah.
But Leno
also looks like Leno does have everything.
Yep. So we'll see him pick up everything, and assuming that he didn't skip any, items that are menu verifiable, which I don't believe he did, we should see him finish with a successful 100%.
Eduardo unfortunately missing the baby skip.
Yeah. Getting chewed on, but continuing to face left, not looking back. I'm sure there'll be some fans of that. And Leno going for the plasma wraparound shot, and then not getting it, so using the lower backup setup. I can appreciate that. That's a bit of a tricky setup there, using plasma for that.
Yeah, that was a really nice wraparound shot with the plasma beam. Fortunately not getting the spark, but he has Screw Tech and Space Jump, so he'll be fine. Also got a CWJ frame there.
And Eduardo having a pretty clean Torian. I mean, accepting the baby skip, but otherwise, despite bad RNG, he's made it through and is through the Zebs and onto Mother Brain 1.
Yeah, those bad Metroid drops kind of slowed him down a bit, but he's still through.
Yeah. Eduardo saying he doesn't care about lag. And just firing off plasma shots indiscriminately. And Leno has gotten all of his items, so Eduardo 20 shots and maybe a stand-up away from making the planet explode.
Yeah, it looked like he was setting up for stand-up. He took off Varia.
Yeah, although, if I'm Eduardo and I'm watching the stream, I mean, as much as I love stand-up, I might just skip it. I wouldn't blame him if he just decides to skip. Or be very conservative with his shot choice.
Unfortunately, not getting down to 144 missiles.
Yeah, looks like he is gonna showcase the stand-up glitch here. And so we'll see, he'll be looking for at least 39 shots to connect here, so that he'll be able to kill Mother Brain 3 in one Hyper Beam shot.
Eduardo showing off some bomb jumps. And didn't get stuck. Getting stuck is one of the problems with stand-up, because if you just get stuck on the ground and... I mean, you can X-ray out of it sometimes. You
I was gonna say, the second time you can use X-ray, which is what I was saying with it being the best use of X-ray in 100%.
It doesn't look like we're going to see any Metroid stucks.
No, at this point, yeah, especially now Eduardo's through cleanly unless he shoots on a bad frame. But first one's safe. He has room for about 7 more shots here. And he's being very, very safe. And has Hyper Beam, and so yeah, that was a successful stand-up glitch from Eduardo. Pretty good overall. I think it was a 4-shot Mother Brain 3. And yeah, Leno not even going for the baby skip here. Eduardo getting a little jagated there on the escape, setting himself up though to make it out before the planet explodes. We'll see if we get a blue bomber here. Doesn't look like it. Leno Kojakting a super there, but now heading on over. But yeah, Leno doing very well there. Getting his Zeb skip and making his way over to Mother Brain 1.
Alright, sorry about that. I had to take care of something.
It's alright. We see Eduardo just about off the planet here, back to his ship. We'll see if the babies get or the animals rather get visited. Can't save the baby.
Looks like he is visiting the animals. See if he goes for a taunt though. It doesn't look like he's taunting them. He's actually saving the animals. What a champ.
Sigh. Is this even speedrunning?
Yes, it is.
And despite that, Eduardo has made it safely back to the ship and finished in what looks to be about a 128.20.
He hasn't got done though.
Yeah, he is not in the SRL channel right now. So GG to Eduardo, and hopefully we see him make it back in time to done.
Alright.
Leno also going for stand-up here. Let's see how he fares if he makes it through safely. Not getting locked to the floor there. So far, a pretty clean stand-up.
So it looks like Eduardo isn't in IRC yet.
And Leno is almost through safely. And yeah, also having a nice 4-shot Mother Brain 3. So another nice stand-up glitch. Yeah, Leno is heading back out of the escape here. Let's see, no blue bomber here either. Still no dot done from Eduardo in the SRL, so I don't know. Hopefully he gets back very soon.
Yeah, hopefully. It looks like Leno isn't saving the animals.
And that is
Deer Force.
Yeah, Deer Force for Eduardo.
And Leno is done with a time of 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 41 seconds in SRL.
And GG to Leno. Nice run.
And Eduardo has indeed gotten 100%, so his run is valid. And Leno, we saw at the ship refill, also got 100%, so his run is also going to be valid.
Yeah, very nice run. Successful 100% run from both runners.
GG to both runners. I think I missed the first GG, but GG to both of them.
And to follow up with chat, first I'll remind everyone again, give these runners a follow if you enjoyed the race. But there are more races coming up. We have, looks like following this one pretty much immediately and then immediately thereafter, all here on Speed Gaming 4, it looks like, if the schedule is correct. We'll have Scotty McBody versus Indo Rush, commentated by Sloters and Leno. And then we will have, following that, Gameaholic versus Kelcharge, commentated by Stump and Cerberoth. So those should both be very good races, finishing up week 1 of the Super Metroid multi-category tournament.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this again, definitely follow both of the runners. They put out a really good race for you guys. So this is a really, really good. So GG to both of them. So yeah, follow the runners. I'll put their links out in chat again.
Yeah, without the timer and without confirmation from SRL, it looked like Eduardo had roughly a 128. And yeah, Eduardo, I see Shine Sparking in the chat, congratulating Eduardo on a nice Fantoon. Indeed, had a really, really nice fast X Factor kill on Fantoon. Really impressive. But yeah, I guess before we sign off, I'll also say thank you, BPS, for joining on commentary. I know that we were kind of shuffled on in last minute, but it was a lot of fun. Glad we're able to commentate the 100% race today. Maybe there will be more 100%.
Yeah, thanks for commentating with me. Because yeah, we both kind of just jumped in at the last minute because commentary slots were not actually filled. Also, looking, he had a 1:27:32 time. So
But yeah, GG to both the runners. Thank you, chat, for bringing all the hype, especially surrounding Shock Tool.
So yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. Thank you guys, and I guess we'll see you next mission, I think is what we go with. But there'll be another run coming up here in just a few minutes. I see the channel has been set up for the next race, so take a water break and stay tuned.
Also, before we go, follow Maniacal for follow him for being a really good commentator for this race.
Well, thank you, BPS. Everyone also give BPS a follow. Very, very good. Makes very, very mean plandos, but otherwise seems like a swell guy.